When you talk about impact players in the Northwest Athletic Conference, Caitlin Weaver's name has to be in the conversation. The sophomore guard has been the driving force for Lynn Benton this season, leading the team in nearly every major stat category.
And right alongside Weaver is Natalia McBride, another key piece of this Lynn Benton squad. The sophomore forward is second on the team in scoring and does a little bit of everything. And when she's playing well, the Roadrunners team gets a huge boost.
Absolutely. Well, regional play is rolling right along here in the Northwest Athletic Conference, and every win is an opportunity to build momentum. This afternoon, the Lynn Benton Roadrunners look to pick up another key victory as they take on the Mount Hood Saints right here at home. I'm Brad Whitman.
I'm Gordon Truong.
And this matchup is sure to be a great one.
Brad, Lynn Benton has its ups and downs this season, but a win tonight would help them stay on track as the postseason race starts to take place. On the other side, Mount Hood's looking to snap a rough 10-game losing streak and play spoiler on the road.
And they'll have their work cut out for them. Mount Hood comes in at just 1-16 on the season, still searching for their first region win as they're 0-10 in the South. Meanwhile, Lynn Benton sits at 12-10 overall, 4-6 in the South region, still trying to stay alive in the mix for a playoff push.
Yeah, and they're looking to bounce right back after a tough loss just 3 days ago against Lane. The Roadrunners ran into a rain back-to-back NWAC champions, struggled in a 68-45 loss. Lynn Benton had a tough shooting night, but where they really got hurt was on the boards. Lane nearly doubled them up, winning a rebounding battle of 51-28.
That's something Lynn Benton will definitely need to clean up today. They've got the talent, but they need to execute. Can they bounce back and take care of business, or will Mount Hood catch them off guard? We'll have to see. But first, let's take a look at today's starting lineups. For the Lynn Benton Roadrunners, we have guard number 3, Caitlin Weaver. Forward, number 4, Natalia McBride. Guard number 10, Hannah Burschauer. Center, number 11, Molly Geckner, and guard number 13, Kylie Baumgartner.
And for Mount Hood, we have guard number 3, Gabby Perez. Forward number 22, Alex Rowley. Guard number 23, Lacey Pencer. Center number 30, Lisa Hartwich. And finally, forward number 40, Savannah Burke.
It's sure to be a fun one, but we're going to take a quick pause for the national anthem, and we'll be back with the tip-off right after this. College first quarter about to get set and underway between the Lynn Benton Roadrunners at home and the visiting Mount Hood Saints. We talked about it a little bit in the pregame, Gordon. The Saints really have their work cut out for them. Currently 1-16 on the season thus far. These two teams faced off about a month ago in January. They played on January 11th, and Lynn Benton got a solid victory of 62-45 in Gresham.
That's right. The Saints really look like they've got their work cut out for them. If they're going to really have a chance at having a meaningful season, they're going to have to work really hard to see if they can score even, a win, even if it's like a couple points or so, anything at all. It's looking like it's a situation where it's kind of like all or nothing. You got to work to get the points that you need on the board and try to overcome the Lynn Benton Beaks.
Yeah, this is a bit of a rebuild year for Mount Hood. First year under head coach Leah McMahon. I got a lot of freshmen on the roster trying to really build a new program over at Mount Hood. Lynn Benton, they're playing under their second year head coach Leslie Reinecker. Of course, still trying to make that playoff push as we mentioned, but we do have tip-off set and ready to go. The tip will be between the two centers, number 30, Lisa Hartwich for Mount Hood, and number 11, Molly Geckner. Geckner standing at 6'2", Hartwich at 6'3". That's going to be a battle of the bigs we're going to be seeing a lot this afternoon.
Yes, and speaking of freshmen, when you have inexperienced players, it can be very difficult, especially if you might come across a team that might have, they may be more experienced or they may have better talent overall. Either way, it's going to be a challenge for the Saints.
And already first possession will start with Mount Hood off the tip-off. It was sent right into the hands of Hannah Burschauer, but a battle at the baseline will give it over to the Saints as they're able to build moving forward. Number 3, Gabby Perez, taking it down court. One of those freshmen we mentioned that have been big to this program. Already seeing a nice bit of pressure from Lynn Benton, and that is going to be a violation back the other way. Lynn Benton, some good defense at half court to win themselves an early turnover.
Right, so now looks like we've got, okay, there we go. Ball over to number 3, Gabby Perez.
McBride, quick put up, no good. Perez will collect the rebound. Quick turnaround for the Saints, almost tipped away by Baumgartner. Perez stays in bounds, throws it in, and it's going to be taken away by Geckner. On the other side, Weaver driving, hands it out to Burschauer, out to McBride, wide open look on the 3. She takes it, and she's got it. Natalia McBride opens up the scoring for Lynn Benton.
And that play earlier was a little bit of a stumble right there that I saw before the ball was taken. And there she is, number 22 for the Saints. Passes it to number 30, then to number 3. Does not make the layup.
And that lay-in no good for Perez. Burschauer to McBride. She takes one from the free throw line, no good. Rebound will fall to Savannah Burke and Mount Hood. Quick pass down court. The Saints looking for an early transition. Minute and a half gone in the first quarter. The Saints yet to break through. Lacey Penzer, who put up 18 in that last matchup versus the Beaks. Looking to answer back. Quick drive outside. Perez looking for Burke. No. We'll give the handoff. Far side to Hartwich. Now to Burke. Now back up to Rowley. A lot of ball movement, but shot clock winds down for Mount Hood. And right now the Roadrunners are just locking out the Saints.
Yes, and it looks like the clock is back at 8 minutes, with the Beaks standing at 3 and Mount Hood at nothing so far.
And we're going to see our first substitution for Mount Hood. And Natalie Greenfield, the freshman guard, stepping in place of Gabby Perez. And it looks like the officials, waiting for a moment, will get play back underway here in the first. Just adding a little bit more time onto the clock. It's back up to 8 minutes. Burschauer from beyond the arc looking for some movement. McBride down low. Takes it, drives to the baseline, looking for a pass in. It will find Weaver, but she's going to get blocked by Hartwich. Possession in the corner for Mount Hood, and it's going to be a jump ball that will favor the Saints.
Yes, and it looks like, okay, it looks like they're going to start off with number 23 for the Saints, who is now in possession of the ball. Pass
over to Burke. Still looking for Mount Hood to put up their first points of the game. Already running out of time on the shot clock. Penzer throws one up. It's no good. A rebound will be batted over to Caitlin Weaver. Again, that leading scorer for Lynn Benton goes over to Burschauer. She's got an open 3. She's got it. Hannah Burschauer, the freshman from Olympia, steps up big time. Lynn Benton got 2 triples to start off the afternoon.
That's going to do pretty good for the Roadrunners. The Beaks is actually going off on a pretty solid start. Meanwhile, Mount Hood is still struggling yet to make a good shot.
Now a battle for this ball in the paint. It looks like it will be a jump ball. That'll go back the way of Lynn Benton. Savannah Burke, one of the only sophomores on the roster for Mount Hood, was able to get a piece of it. But Lynn Benton, their defense doing a great job to open up the afternoon. Of course, going up 3 minutes, 10 seconds without allowing a point is obviously a great way to open things up.
Absolutely. And, you know, the nice thing for Mount Hood is they still have plenty of time this game to score some points and make this game something that may be meaningful for them.
They do indeed. They have had a tough start, of course, going over 2 from the field, but also having 4 turnovers in these opening minutes. Weaver to McBride, finds a lane, is going to get fouled by Burke, and Natalia McBride, she's going to head to the free throw line for 2. McBride shooting about 71% on the season from the free throw line. Her and Weaver kind of get the most attempts as they're both not afraid to drive in, both leaders of this Linn Bend team, a few of the experienced sophomores and the 2 leading scorers.
Right. And it looks like they're going for another shot here after a no good first free throw attempt. That second free throw was a good attempt right there.
So Linn Bend extend the lead to 7-0 here in the first quarter. Mount Hood still just looking to break through for the first time. Pencer looking for some help, goes over to Burke. Rowley drives in. Burke looking to do it herself. Spin move trying to get past Natalia McBride. It's going to be ripped away into the hands of Weaver. Burke looking for a foul call. And now Weaver going far side to Baumgartner. She takes a jumper and she's got the 2. The Beaks up 9-0.
That must be very frustrating for Mount Hood right there when you have a ball that gets ripped away out of your hands. That's not a really good sign. That sounds like they're just leaving points on the table for the Beaks there.
And it looks like now we're going to see an offensive foul on Savannah Burke. Got a little too physical there trying to set that screen, and it will be another turnover for Mount Hood. And they really got to be able to minimize these as time moves forward. It does look like play will stop as we do have a substitution here. That's Day Miller, the freshman forward for Mount Hood, stepping in place of Burke. Weaver trying to get Linn Bend to an early double digits, goes into Burschauer, out to Baumgartner, drives in through the gap, gets tapped away. It's bobbled between players. Weaver, she's going to let a 3 fly, no good. Rebound will fall to Natalia. Goes back out to Baumgartner, steps in the paint, fires a 2. That one no good as well. Rebound finally collected by the Saints. They're going to try and head back the other way.
All right, we'll see if they're going to.
Rowley was looking down lone for Miller, and Weaver picks up a steal. She's also the steal leader for Linn Bend. The 3 no good from Burschauer. Another battle for the rebound. Miller is on it, and it looks like she's going to fall out of bounds with possession. So that will be another turnover as we see Isabella Lowitz getting her first time, the freshman from Southridge, Oregon, hopping in place of Geckner. Those 2 bigs getting the most time for the Roadrunners at that 5 position. Lowitz out to Weaver.
And it's worth mentioning that Mount Hood's looking like they've scored 2 fouls so far, whereas the Beaks has yet to collect a foul, which seems like a good thing for them so far. 9 points for the Beaks, and Mount Hood, the Saints, has still yet to score a point on the board.
Yeah, it looks like a foul is going to be called there for a second. It looked like a jump ball, but instead it will be the other way, as it looks like things will reset. That will bring us to a timeout, that being said. So 4:50 left to go here in the first quarter. Half of it gone, Gordon, and Mount Hood still scoreless through the first 5:10.
That's right, Brad, and it looks like Mount Hood is off to a pretty sloppy start, which is frustrating as a team, but as their head coach Leah Mahone has mentioned, that they're always going to go back to basics.
Yeah, and it looks like they need to at this point, as right now, you know, they're 0 for 2 as a team, but that's not even the biggest picture thing right now. They got 7 turnovers in those first 5 minutes. Having over a turnover a minute is a huge giveaway of possession, giving Linn Bend a lot of free looks. Linn Bend have scored 6 of their 9 points off of turnovers. You know, Linn Bend's not one of the most high-scoring teams in the league, but Mount Hood even less so. They're actually second to last in the NWAC for points per game.
That's right, and it looks like there's just a lot of work for them ahead. But as we've seen from their past seasons, it seems like they've also continued to struggle historically. So that means it's almost always likely that they're going back to the drawing board, trying different things out, and it doesn't seem like what they're working on so far has actually worked well for them.
And we'll see what they do to try and turn things around, but play back underway here in the first quarter. Inbound from Burschauer to McBride. She immediately steps up, takes two, no good. Miller will collect the rebound, goes over to Pencer to take it back down the floor. As we mentioned, Pencer put up 18 last time she faced Lynn Ben about a month ago. Out in Gresham now, running out of spaces. Rowley gets in close. Quick turnaround from Hartwich will go out to Greenfield. Pencer's got it, 10 seconds on the shot clock. She's gonna drive, look for a look, will throw it up with the left, and will get fouled by Weaver. So Lacey Pencer gonna get 2 shots from the charity stripe, and the first opportunity for Mount Hood to really secure a point.
That's right. So let's just hope that they actually manage to score a good point there for this free throw shot. And that was no good.
Pencer shooting about 66% from the free throw line, not the most efficient. The sophomore from Redmond, Oregon, but the second one up and no good as well. So Mount Hood remains scoreless even after 2 free throw attempts. They're really just looking to break the ice here, Gordon. Something to open the floodgates on the scoring column. Baumgartner driving into McBride. She's going to go up for 2 more. No good. She's been trying that jumper from the right side. Hasn't gotten it to fall just yet. Good pressure from Lindben in the corner. Miller looking to escape. Goes out to Pencer again. Greenfield wide open down court. She's got it, but going toe-to-toe with Lowitz and Burschauer. She puts up a 2 again. No good. Rebound will fall, and it's going to be a battle for it. It looks like a timeout is called by head coach Leslie Reinecker in time to maintain that possession for the Beaks.
And it looks like that the Saints have a lot of work to do for their technique, which shows that there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work ahead of them, and the fact that they're struggling at making shots, putting points on the board, all goes back to missing shots and not, possibly basic technique. It seems like their coaches seems to be right, is that it's always going back to the basics, and it seems like that's something that the Saints seem to struggle the most with, just the basic techniques and the skills on the floor right here.
Yeah, I think we need to see the Saints protect the ball a little bit more here, Gordon. As again, 7 turnovers in this first quarter is not the kind of stat line you want to see. But Lindben looking to break into double digits here. Baumgartner out to Weaver. Drives into the paint, finds a nice open lane. A little bit too hard off the glass. Mount Hood find the rebound still. Looking for their first field goal, their first points of the afternoon. Over to Rowley. Being guarded closely by Baumgartner. Lowitz trying to shut down Hartwich. She'll go out to Greenfield. She's going to pull up for 2. No good. A rebound will fall to Isabella Lowitz.
I was hoping for that to be a good shot, but that was no good.
Now McBride, she let a 3 go very early, and Natalia McBride has looked to try and score early. Now that's going to be a big foul on Pencer as she just tried to throw up any sort of shot as she drove in. So she's going to get 2 more attempts from the line, and you got to feel, Gordon, that this is the time when Mount Hood is able to get on the board. That's
right. It seems like it's because that they just don't have any players from the Beaks trying to block shots or put up a strengthy defense against them, because there's nothing really in their way when it comes to things like free throws, because the points are just right there. The points are just on the table. But again, going back to their shooting techniques and the poor efficiency for free throws, just there we go. We finally have a point for Mount Hood. That was good.
Lacey Pencer will sink her first. Also catching up on substitutions, Lindben will swap out Caitlin Weaver as Pencer will sink the second. Weaver getting her first rest of the evening as she will be swapped in for number 2, the freshman guard Maya Wilson, who's kind of been that backup for Weaver. When she gets a little tired, Burschauer immediately looking to respond. That one not going to drop. Another rebound for Hartwich. Mount Hood get their first 2 points and now have a chance to try and start chipping away at this lead that Lynn is able to build. A drive in close from Rowley. She goes up with the right, no good. Rebound will fall to Wilson. And she'll give it out to McBride, now to Bershauer to take it at the 1. Bershauer, one of those freshman players that has really stepped up this season for Lynn Benton, expecting her to be a big leader next season once Weaver and McBride are gone. This pass batted around. Baumgartner gets it out to McBride. She whips it over to Bershauer on the far side. She lets a 3 go, and she's got it. Hannah Bershauer on the board for the second bucket of the night.
And it looks like that it just all comes down to the power that Lynn Benton has with their players' skills, especially their senior players here.
And it looks like we're going to see a foul as well as Molly Geckner will swap in for McBride. McBride will get some rest as seeing Geckner and Lowitz on the floor together has got to be threatening for any team playing them, but Lynn Benton are at a 10-point lead with that triple hit by Bershauer. Looking to protect it now as about a minute and a half left to go here in the first quarter. Penzer got it again, being guarded by Bershauer. Over to Rowley. Looking down low for some support from Hartwich, and it will be tapped out of bounds by the Beaks. Lynn Benton currently being led by Hannah Bershauer in scoring. She's 2 for 4 from the field, but 3 of those 4 attempts have been from three-point range, and she's knocked down 2 of them so far, having half the points for Lynn Benton. Penzer going to get blocked by Geckner. Huge block, and the shot clock will expire before the shot from Hartwich. So Lynn Benton, another great defensive mark, shutting down Mount Hood time and time again. That is the 3rd shot clock violation we've seen from the Saints.
Yes. And it seems like they are, it's as if they're still learning the ropes of basketball.
And we will see Lowitz swap out. Caitlin Weaver back on the floor as Baumgartner inbounds it to her, running right alongside her. Kylie Baumgartner, another freshman that's sure to be a leader next season. Did get a shout out in the pregame from Weaver and McBride, highlighting her talents as Weaver collects Bershauer. She's going to pull up for another 3, this one off the mark. Maya Wilson gets the rebound, running out of room in the corner, and it looks like it will be a foul on Natalie Greenfield, as it looked like she might have gotten the nose of Wilson in that corner.
And it looks like teams are getting ready to get the ball back in play here as Lynn Benton, number 10, Hannah Bershauer, has possession of the ball, passes it over. That was good.
Yeah, nice bit of split on the inbound play from Lynn Benton as Caitlin Weaver left wide open from the free throw line, and a player of her talents, that is not someone you want to leave that far open, as again, top 25 in the NWAC for field goal percentage, and you give her a free shot from the free throw line, and it's tough to stop. Mount Hood trying to add on some more before the quarter expires.
And
Lisa
that was
Hartwich,
good.
a nice jumper to get her first points of the afternoon. You do see Lynn Benton pushing the pace. Caitlin Weaver goes up, can't get it to fall. Geckner, nice putback, and Lynn Benton back up by 12. Final seconds here of the first quarter. Lynn Benton trying to extend their lead. Mount Hood just looking to get on the board one more time. Penzer looking for a handoff to Rowley. Will give it to her. She's driving in far side. Less than 5 seconds. Rowley goes up with the right. Not going to fall, and it looks like it will expire in time. So Lynn Benton, a dominant-looking first quarter. Their defense really being the highlight, and Mount Hood only 4 points to show in the opening 10 minutes.
And your score for the first was period.
Quarter.
For the first quarter, the Beaks 16, Mount Hood Saints 4. And that does it for the first quarter.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to be done moving forward, but 16-4 at the end of the first. Lynn Benton leading confidently. We'll be back right after a short break. And welcome back, everyone. Tulane Bend Community College second quarter about to get underway between the Roadrunners and the visiting Mount Hood Saints. The Beaks up 16-4 after the first. Hannah Burschauer leading the charge, 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. She's been doing a little bit of everything to start. Natalia McBride's got 4. Weaver, Geckner, and Baumgartner have 2 apiece. Over on the side of Mount Hood, Pencer got a pair of free throws, and Lisa Hartwich got a nice jumper to get their 4 points. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done for Mount Hood, but already we're going to see another turnover. Maya Wilson was able to rip it away. Burschauer taking it back down the floor for the Roadrunners. Has Wilson to her right. Gets some movement. Weaver looking to break free. He'll get it here. Gets past Baumgartner on the screen. She pulls up from the elbow. Jumper no good. Pencer immediately looking to respond from Mount Hood again. It's tapped away by Weaver to land right back with Wilson, the Roadrunners. A nice pickpocket there from Caitlin Weaver. Burschauer, far side, finds her again. Fakes the 2 and is going to get fouled up here by Day Miller close to the baseline.
And it looks like we are back here with the ball not in motion yet.
Looks like we will see Lacey Pencer get her first rest of the matchup, as we will see Gabby Perez swap back in. Weaver shakes off the pick and roll with Geckner. Geckner, low catch, can't get it above the backboard. And now Mount Hood looking for a swift turnaround. Head coach for the Saints calling for a play, and the pass is going to be out of bounds. It was Hartwich to Miller. Just threw it a little too high up over her head and out of bounds. Another turnover for Mount Hood.
Yes. And it looks like the ball is now in the Roadrunners' possession. Passes over to number 2.
It looks like it's going to be a quick foul there on Alex Rowley. Had a little bit too much contact with Burschauer. So it's going to be another foul for Mount Hood. The Saints currently sitting at 10 turnovers through the first quarter and the first minute 24 of the second. And that's one thing they really need to get better at, as we're going to see Baumgartner throw it up. Almost got it to fall, but the shooting foul is called. It looks like that will be on Miller. So we're going to see Baumgartner head to the free throw line for the first time this afternoon.
Yes, as she is for the Roadrunners. Should expect this shot to be good, actually. And that was good, actually.
Kylie Baumgartner, the freshman from Canby, Oregon, shoots about 67% from the free throw line. We're going to see a couple more substitutions. That's going to be Avonlea Wolf, the freshman from Toledo, getting her first time in, as well as Brooklyn Garber, the freshman from right here in Albany, swapping in. We're seeing more of the guards getting rest for the Roadrunners. Second free throw up and good. Baumgartner will sink both, as she is the freshman leader in points for the Roadrunners so far on this season. As we mentioned, she's going to be looking to be a leader next season. Gabby Perez, her follow through no good. Weaver collecting another rebound for herself. Rushing down court, she's already looking for a lane. Will go out far side, and that the pickoff is made. Perez way down court. Baumgartner back in time. She's going to pull up from the free throw line. No good. And another rebound for Weaver. She's going to hang on to it and will keep possession for the Roadrunners.
Seems like that attempt from the free throw line had a little bit too much roll to it, which is why the ball didn't make it into the basket.
And that last play ended up actually being a turnover on Day Miller. That's her third personal of the game already. And those are 3 early fouls, in Mount Hood are a bit stretched thin on players this season. They only have 9 active players right now. They had 12 at the start of the season. They've lost a few over the last couple months for several different reasons, but only having 9 active and already having one of your down low players having 3 personals, that is tough, as Miller, hearing her name, will go up for 2. She's on the board, and Mount Hood add on a couple more.
Yes, and for Mount Hood, it seems like, you're losing players. It just makes it compounds the situation for, the overall performance of a team.
As we will see if Mount Hood, again, trying to chip away at this lead. Hartwich has it versus Geckner. Expecting to see that battle of the post. Perez drives in, throws one up off the backboard. Geckner will easily collect the rebound. Weaver immediately looking back down court. Has Garber in the right corner, runs into traffic. It's going to pop out, and it will fall to Baumgartner. It says it's tipped, so play will resume. Wolf to Geckner, looking down low, finds Garber. Out to Avonlea Wolf again. She drives in. Is going to get that one ripped away by Alex Rowley. She's looking for the corner, has the open lane, struggling to keep hold of that dribble. Will go up for two. It's no good. Rebound battled for and thrown out of bounds by Rowley. A lot of contact there, but the officials letting him play on.
Yes, consider that to be lucky. Otherwise, it would have been a penalty right there for them.
We will see Geckner swap out as she's going to take a quick pit stop with the trainer, looking at that left hand. That is something we'll have to keep an eye on for later, as McBride back on the floor, as well as Isabella Lois swapping in for Geckner. McBride, the give and go back to Weaver. She goes up for two, no good. It's aired out. Rowley back the other way for the Saints. Less than 6 minutes to go before halftime. Mount Hood still struggling to break through in the double digits. Greenfield gets the handoff to Perez. She's going to let a three fly. Gabby Perez has got the triple, and Mount Hood are up to 9.
That was a good shot right there by Mount Hood. That's not something you see very often when you have a team that regularly struggles to put points on the board. Roadrunners 18, Mount Hood 9, with little over 5 minutes left of this quarter here.
Miller will go back out to Greenfield, being guarded by Wolf. Down to Miller again. McBride looking to shut her down, but that's a great push off, and no, it's going to be called no good and an offensive foul. And that is going to be the 4th personal on Day Miller before halftime.
That's really frustrating. That could have helped Mount Hood get a couple extra points on the board to bring the points ratio between the Roadrunners and Mount Hood closer, but because of that personal foul right there, it seems like that's not going to happen.
And McBride, another nice three to put away and put Lynn Benton up to 21. Lynn Benton, not the best three-point shooting team in the league, but they're having themselves a night. They're 4 of 8 right now, shooting 50%. Is a great look for these Roadrunners. And you look at Burschauer and McBride for all 4 of those. That's going to be a block from Garber, but it's going to be called a foul. The home crowd here in Lynn Benton not agreeing with that call, but it will be 2 shots for Alex Rowley. And it looks like that will send us to our media timeout here in the second quarter. 4:32 left to go. Lynn Benton up 21-9 over Mount Hood. Mount Hood still struggling with their shooting percentage. They're 3 of 15 right now. And we were looking pregame, Gordon, between the last matchup between both these teams. And the interesting thing to note, Lynn Benton shot about 28% from the field. Mount Hood shot actually 32% from the field. So Mount Hood shot better. The main difference was Lynn Benton had twice the shooting attempts that Mount Hood did. Mount Hood only in that matchup put up 38 shots. Lynn Benton put up 79. So even though Mount Hood shot a little bit better, they just didn't have enough possession, didn't put up enough shots, and Lynn Benton were able to pick up that win.
That's right. But, you know, when you think about the relative numbers between Mount Hood and Lynn Benton, it just seems like that the Roadrunners are doing better. And I think for this particular game, that's really all that matters is if you can outscore your opponent, that's going to be a good day for anybody. But you know, looking at the other side, Mount Hood is just struggling with a lot of errors and a lot of missed shot attempts. Looks like we're at a free throw here.
Yeah, Mount Hood only shooting 20% on the afternoon so far. They're 3 of 15, but again, similarly to the last time these two teams went against each other, Lynn Benton, they're only shooting 24%, but the contrary is they have 29 shots compared to the 15 for Mount Hood. So again, not shooting much better, but they do have more attempts as Rowley will miss the first, sink the second to bring the Saints to 10 points here. Less than 4.5 to go before halftime. Lynn Benton still trying to build up as much of a lead as they can before heading back to the locker room. Perez looking for a pickpocket there. Burschauer to McBride. She pulls up for 2, and she's got them both. Natalia McBride on her 3rd bucket of the night.
And it looks like ball goes over to Mount Hood number 40. And that was no good. Ball over to number 3 for Mount Hood.
And that was a hard moment there as a hard foul from McBride onto Perez. She had to take a second there behind the baseline to kind of recover. It looks like we will see more substitution. Lowitz will head out. McBride will head out. We're going to see Cadence Hendrickson, number 30, for Lynn Benton, getting her first time on the floor. Less than 4 minutes to go. Still plenty of time for either of these teams to put up more points, but the first free throw missed by Perez. As again, she only shoots about 65% from the free throw line. We talked about basics with the head coach of Mount Hood. She talked about that was one of the big things that the Saints are looking to improve this season in kind of their rebuild year. New head coach, a lot of freshmen to work with. They are indeed trying to turn things around, but Hendrickson will go back out to Wilson. Wilson gets it over to Baumgartner. Has Burschauer to the left. She just finds the open lane. Does she finish with the left? No. No good. Burke picks up the rebound for the Saints.
And it looks like it's a very slow progress. That was good for Mount Hood.
That was a nice pass down court from Burke down to Rowley, and she's able to turn in the lay-in. Mount Hood back in by 11. Baumgartner out to Burschauer. Snaps it in to Hendrickson. She can't hang on to it. Rowley picks it back up the other way. Has Perez down in the paint. It looks like she's just going to do it herself, and she'll pick up the 2. Burschauer tried to draw the charge. It was no good, and a nice finish from Rowley.
Ball back into Roadrunners' possession here.
Wilson drives, puts up 2, but it looks like there's going to be a foul called before the shot goes up. It looks like it will be a foul on Mount Hood, as we're going to see a couple more substitutions for the Beaks. Addison Dunlap getting her first minutes in. And it looks like we're also going to see number 24, Lydia Jacobson, get her first time for the Roadrunners. Wilson, she's going to get her 2 shots with the bonus active for the Roadrunners. Wilson shooting about 43% from the free throw line, one of the lower percentages we see. She doesn't get a ton of attempts in game, but she'll sink both here and add on to the Roadrunners' lead. Less than 3 minutes ago, Mount Hood still trying to chip away.
And it just looks like that having those 2 free throws back there was actually
great pass
helpful.
in from Perez. Burke can't finish it. Second chance will fall through. Starting to see some good passing coming through from Mount Hood, and that is a great look for them. They had a lot of passing turnovers in the first quarter. Now starting to clean up, get a lot of passes down in the paint, and it's working well for them as they're back within 9, as it looks like we're going to see another foul. This is an off-ball foul on Perez. And that'll send Burschauer to the line for her bonus shots. Burschauer, her first attempts from the free throw line, will knock down the first. She is having herself a game to start now, sitting at 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Both her field goals being threes, and she'll sink both free throws as well, so she's sitting at 8 alongside Natalia McBride with 9.
It looks like that Roadrunners, they're just putting points on the board like it's easy.
And we're going to see an over and back violation here on Mount Hood, and that is another turnover for the Saints. That being their 12th of the match so far. And the Roadrunners more than happy to take these free possessions with themselves. Dunlap tried to give and go, ends up giving it straight out to Burke over on Mount Hood. a turnover on the other side. Good defense from the Saints. Starting to see a lot of improvements, getting closer and closer to halftime. Burke looking for something, goes out to Perez. She lets a three fly, no good. Rebound battle for, but Addison Dunlap will take it. Whistle's blown, and a foul will be called on the Saints. We have again seen a lot of late fouls here from Mount Hood, and they seeming to really add up here. Addison Dunlap.
And it looks like our foul totals for the Roadrunners versus Mount Hood is we're looking 2 versus 5. It seems that the number of fouls, it's kind of like the opposite for Mount Hood, whereas they're trying to score points. Looks like they're scoring points just not in the right way. They're scoring points for fouls, which is not something that you want.
Addison Dunlap goes 1 of 2 before being swapped out for Geckner. Trying to guard closely to Hartwich. Drives right side, spin move, looking for a way through, can't find anything. Goes back out to Greenfield. Back into Hartwich, it's poked by Geckner and a foul called. Some disagreement from the LBCC stands, but we will see Mount Hood get the ball back on the baseline. Minute 37 left to go. Lynn Benton still up a comfortable 12 as we're getting closer and closer to halftime. Mount Hood have been struggling with their fouls. As mentioned, they've got 12 total as of right now. Looking to minimize it. Burke gets it back out to Perez, making sure she doesn't step out of bounds, but as she looks, she immediately puts that left foot a little bit too far back, and it's another turnover for the Saints. The Roadrunners immediately heading down court, looking to make the most out of every possession here in the second quarter. That one almost taken away from Geckner. Baumgartner lets a three fly. She's got it. Another triple for Lynn Benton, their 5th of the afternoon. And I've watched this Lynn Benton team for a long time, and this is the best three-point performance I've seen from them to date.
Yes, and this is obviously my first time seeing a community college play, so it's something eye-opening for me.
Looks like we will see a foul on Rowley as substitution here. Lydia Jacobson will hop out. Brooklyn Garber getting some more time. We'll see her back maybe for the final minute of play here in the second quarter. First free throw up and good for Rowley. She is currently leading the way for Mount Hood, sitting at 6 points. She's 2 for 5 from the field, also got 3 rebounds. This one will be missed. Rebound batted around, will fall to Burke. Perez drives in, stops short. She'll pull up for 2, no good. Hartwich looking to secure the rebound, gets it right back out to Rowley, and she finds the put up. 50 seconds left on the clock. Mount Hood pick up another 2.
And we have the score looking like it's 31 versus 39 right here with the Roadrunners in bonus here. 38.5 seconds left on pause with this quarter, let alone the half here.
Burschauer immediately gets it into Baumgartner. Can't find the finish. It was a great inbound pass as Hartwich slapping away Baumgartner for a minute there as she'll give it over to Perez. That's going to be pickpocketed by Wilson. Perez gets it back, goes up, won't find the bucket. Geckner gathers the rebound. Perez a little bit slow to get up. Hobbling downfield. We might have an injury timeout. No. Play will resume as the officials going to let things play on for the final 15 seconds. That would be a tough player to lose for Mount Hood. Playing off the screen, pick and roll, back to Geckner. She's going to get blocked by Burke. Heavy contact there. Geckner went through 2 Saints and now is going to get 2 shots.
With only 7 seconds left to go of this half, will they let the clock run out, or is this something that Mount Hood wants to take advantage of?
It'll be a nice 2 free throws to add on for the Roadrunners. First one up and no good. Molly Geckner, the sophomore from Corvallis, standing at 6'2", has been that starting big for the Roadrunners. Only shoots about 52% from the free throw line as we'll go 0 for 2 on this one. Rebound will fall back to Perez. Looks like she's got a little bit more spring left. Final seconds. She's going to try and get the pass out to Rowley. She does, but the bucket, no good. Buzzer will sound, and that is the end of the first half.
And the score with the Roadrunners at 31, Mount Hood 19. It looks like if we can say anything positive about Mount Hood, it seems like they're at least putting something on the board, so that's good. But things could have gone much worse for Mount Hood if they kept playing a sloppy ball game.
Yeah, ultimately Mount Hood shooting 30% from the field compared to the 27 from Lynn Ben. So actually, again, shooting more efficiently than the Roadrunners, but the Roadrunners just getting more and more chances. That 12-point lead standing from the first quarter. We still saw some good looks, but ultimately, still the biggest thing I think we need to note here is the turnovers for Mount Hood. 13 turnovers in the first 2 quarters. That is not the kind of number you want, averaging 6 to 7 turnovers per quarter, about a turnover every other minute. That's just a free possession to give away, and Lynn Ben, over a third of their points have come from turnovers. They've gotten 11 points off their turnovers, and that is what has helped elevate them to this 31 to 19 lead over Mount Hood. The Saints still struggling to kind of put everything together. A positive note for them, they're looking good rebounding. We know Lynn Ben struggled with that versus the reigning champions of Lane just 3 days ago. Lynn Ben currently sitting at 16 total rebounds compared to the 27 from the Saints. So Mount Hood doing a great job getting the boards. Unfortunately, haven't really been able to capitalize.
And for Mount Hood, it's just they're just leaving points on the floor. Well, on the floor there for Lynn Benton. And coach is always right. It's always about basic technique, and it seems like they have to go back to the drawing board because almost every shot attempt, the vast majority of the shot attempt by Mount Hood has always been no good.
And we are seeing, Mount Hood being led by Alex Rowley. She's standing, 5'5", the forward from Enterprise, Oregon, leading with 8 points, 4 rebounds. She's going to be kind of looking to be the spark plug for Mount Hood. They really kind of need to take this moment during halftime, kind of take that break, regroup, and come back with a lot of energy going into the third and fourth quarter as Lynn Ben just looking to outspeed them, outpace them, and they were able to just stay out in front that entire time right from the get-go. We know took Mount Hood over half of the first quarter to finally get points on the board. That is not the kind of look you want. Alex Rowley, she's been doing well. Need to see player like Lacey Pencer step up. Lisa Hartwich, the 6'3" center, she's got to find a lot more looks. Gabby Perez, we're going to be expecting to see her kind of take shape. She's 1 for 8 right now from the field. Need to see that kind of change be made. But over on the side of Lynn Ben, Natalia McBride leading with 9 points, a rebound, and an assist. Hannah Burschauer, the freshman, 2 for 4 from range, putting herself at 8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Kylie Baumgartner behind them with 7 points and a rebound. Caitlin Weaver been a little bit quiet tonight, Gordon. She's 1 for 8. Usually see her being that lead scorer, but she's gotten some great help from McBride and the 2 freshmen, Burschauer and Baumgartner.
Right, and you said Mount Hood needing that spark plug of energy, right? If you think about it, the team's not going to perform without, the kind of, let me just put it this way, the kind of gasoline that they need to put out a power performance, but that's not what's being fed into Mount Hood. It doesn't seem like they have that kind of, that athletic performance. It's just, it seems like they're trying, but it's just skills. If just aiming the ball and just having the ball roll at the correct speed and land correctly into the bucket. And if any of those don't take place, that's just a recipe for more turnovers and no good attempts and just sloppy gripping of the ball and passing the ball and possibly not thinking about who might be there to obstruct your pass attempt, sort of like pass interference in football, but you have people blocking and therefore creating these turnovers. There's just a lot of things in basketball, especially when you're a player, to think about.
Yeah, Mount Hood still have a lot of work to do. Lynn Benton leading 31-19 at the half. We're going to take a quick break for the rest of halftime. We'll see you back in a moment. Back, everyone, to this Northwest Athletic Conference South matchup here at Lynn Benton Community College. The Roadrunners here at home taking on the Mount Hood Saints. The Saints trailing 19-31 versus Lynn Benton, and the Roadrunners were able to get a lot going to start now already. Looking for an early takeaway, and that's going to be Hannah Burschauer knocking down her third three of the night.
That was pretty good. That's good for them. It's a way for them to put more points on the board and just setting them up for success.
Lynn Benton continuing to shoot well from range, as we do see this one tapped out of bounds on the other side. Mount Hood still kind of looking to find their footing in terms of offense. Have struggled a little bit minimizing turnovers, as we see another one there.
Right, and as long as they keep trying to keep the turnovers at bay here, that's at least gonna do them good, because the more turnovers, the more you're basically putting on the floor here.
As Hannah Burschauer knocks down another three. That's her fourth of the afternoon. She is catching fire here early in the first minute of the third quarter. And we are just seeing Lynn Benton being able to create a lot of opportunities beyond the arc. Nice catch from Pencer. Spin, puts it up with the left. Won't get it to fall. Alex Rowley going to get blocked on the far side. Immediately, Pencer goes back up. No good. A lot of presence from Mount Hood in the paint, but they're really not able to take advantage. That's a great pass in from McBride. Geckner fakes it back out to McBride. Now Burschauer back to McBride in the corner. She lets a three go. It's going to be just out over, and now Perez turning it back around, looking for a breakaway here in the one-on-one, and she's going to get fouled hard in the back by Geckner, and Perez lands hard.
That must be painful.
Yeah, she's slowed to get up there. That was a hard foul from Geckner. You can see he tried to slow down her momentum. I don't think Geckner was expecting Perez to kind of just stop in the paint and take the shot, and it looks like we are going to be taking a moment. The Lynn Benton trainer waiting for a second. It looks like he will head on the court, and we're going to have ourselves an injury timeout.
Yes, and that's if that was one of your key players, that would really set your team back, especially if you're already having a rough season. That does not make things any better, it seems, but hopefully things will play out well for Mount Hood.
And it does look like Perez off to the sideline, kind of holding her neck, testing things with the trainers. We will see Natalie Greenfield swap in, and that is a pretty big player to lose in Gabby Perez, kind of their leading point guard here.
Right, and as I've said, if losing a key player out on the field is going to make things harder, because you have a team that's relying on someone that has the experience, and when you don't have anybody to look up to, that's who are you gonna look up to for?
Yeah, it just gives other players more chances to step up, as Greenfield will do exactly that. She's swapped in and knocks down both free throws immediately. Lynn Benton storming back down the court, trying to add on to this 16-point lead. Burschauer into McBride. The pass is tapped away. She's looking for a foul, and now Weaver tried to rip that one away from Pencer. Couldn't get it inside to Savannah Burke. Nice put away, and Mount Hood starting to fire on offense.
That's good for them. They're closing up the score gap between Lynn Benton and Mount Hood. Maybe this might not be such a bad one for them after all. Maybe they just needed a little bit of time to warm up, and maybe that first half was just that half they needed to get their muscles all warmed up to be able to play a decent game for them.
And that was a huge block from Lisa Hartwich. shutting down Bershauer, and that is a bit of a mismatch in that as Bershauer sitting at 5'8", going toe-to-toe with the 6'3" Hartwich. Not going to make it any easier. Lindben going to get another chance. Weaver drives, bounce pass out to Baumgartner. She takes the jumper, no good. Battle for the rebound as Weaver tried to rip that one away from Hartwich. Weaver always seems to go for those big rebounds, even if she's outmatched. Burke going inside. That's a great pass in and a wide open look for Hartwich. And again, and Gordon, we're seeing those passes in the paint. What can Lynn Benton do to try and stop that play?
What could Lynn Benton do to stop that play? Geez, if you're asking someone who knows very little bit about basketball.
As Bershauer won't get that three to fall, but it's been a consistent here for Mount Hood going into this third quarter. We've seen it getting more and more consistent throughout, and Lynn Benton have to find an answer. Otherwise, might see Mount Hood exploit that weakness more and more.
Yes, that's probably a good thing, as if Lynn Benton, their ego seems to get the best of them, especially from the first half, when you have any given team that feels like they're doing so well that they start to have this complacent mindset, and I think that's a typical human thing. And when that happens, that's when, top teams that are winning start to get into a little bit of trouble there.
And now we're going to see a back-to-back turnovers. Lynn Benton had a 3 in the key on the offensive side. Now we're going to see a travel from Pencer for Mount Hood. Lacey Pencer, but another player who's kind of struggled to come alive for Lynn Benton. As we know, she put up 18 last time these two teams faced off, and now she's 0 for 4 from the field. Hasn't been able to get any points on the board. And Mount Hood, I think, are going to really need to get her activated if they want to chip away at this lead. Is Natalia McBride. She pulls up for 2 as she hits double digits.
Smooth for her. Great way to contribute to team success.
That was a nice drive from Rowley, but she lost the dribble down low. And another turnover for Mount Hood. And do you think if the turnovers were even here, Gordon, we'd be seeing a much more even game?
I honestly think so. If the turnovers are fair and consistent, I think the points that are on the board would be probably a lot closer. But then again, I still think Lynn Benton has a chance to win, even if you even if you rule out all turnovers and fouls, because it just comes down to the skills and the talent the players have versus Mount Hood.
Yeah, I think if Mount Hood had 0 turnovers, this would be a much different game. Lynn Benton have put up 16 points off of Mount Hood's turnovers. You flip that script, and suddenly Mount Hood are ahead by 2, but with all the turnovers we've seen, Lynn Benton have been doing a great job taking advantage. Now they're up by 14, pass down court, a collision for Mount Hood, and this pass will go off the sideline as it looks like we're going to take a moment here. Players kind of being checked on. It was a hard fall for Alex Rowley, and that will bring us to our media timeout as well. It does look to be getting a little bit more physical all throughout.
Absolutely, and it looks like Mount Hood's putting up a little bit of heat. They're putting out a little bit of heat for Lynn Benton, and I think that's what getting them to 25 points is. I'm. If you look at Lynn Benton with their 39 points, it seems like that's a small difference, but it is still a big difference, 39 to 25. But Mount Hood's doing something, and it shows that they have some kind of amount of strength within them.
And I mean, one of the big things that we saw is, I talked to head coach Leslie Reinecker from Lynn Benton before this match started, and she said one of the great things about Mount Hood is they never give up. Giving credit to your point, the Saints are always able to put up a fight, even when they're down like this, 14 again. We've been seeing a lot of turnovers. They haven't been as efficient with their shooting, only about 30% from the field. And it really being that first quarter. I mean, second quarter was dead even. Each team had 15 points. Here in the third quarter, it's only been a 2-point difference, 8-6 in favor of the Beaks. But that first quarter was really where things got out of hand. It was a 12-point differential to start out this game, and that just kind of stood the test of time. And you have a tough start like that, it's even tougher to try and bring it back later on in the game.
Right, but if you just put your heart into the game and just focus very hard on exactly what you're doing on the floor, that's going to really, really carry you forward no matter how far you are behind the other team, as long as you're putting points on the board. That seems like the theme here is that if you're doing something that benefits, if you're putting points on the board at all, that's going to probably be all that a head coach would want to ask for, is just the hard work and doing something that gives you score.
Yeah, I think one of the big things for Mount Hood, they want to focus on their higher percentage shots. We've seen them go for a few threes, really haven't had a lot of success, but when we see them going for those passes down low, trying to break through the defense, looking for those drives, forcing shooting fouls, anything down low seems to be their strong suit. They have a great freshman in Lisa Hartwich, that 6'3" center who steps up now. A pickpocket from Weaver heading back down the court, looking to shake off Pencer. That she does. A nice lay-in for Caitlin Weaver to add on 2 more. Weaver 2 for 10 on the night so far. Not quite as efficient as we've seen from her in the past, Gordon, but she's getting a lot of support from players like Burschauer and McBride.
Right. And that's what teamwork's all about here, is that you're helping each other. If
another lay-in and no good for Mount Hood. 16-point gap. Weaver goes inside to a wide-open Geckner, and that's another bucket for the Roadrunners, and we're starting to see the defense fall through a little bit here, Gordon. Pencer taking it back down the floor. Gets it out to Greenfield, now to Burke. We've seen a couple threes from her. She's going to let another one fly high arc, not going to drop in. Rebound will fall to Weaver. That's her 10th rebound of the game as well. She's hunting a double-double, needs a few more points to get it, as the 3 from McBride, no good. Immediate putback from Baumgartner, no good as well. Burke will find the rebound for the Saints, and it looks like the pace starting to slow down here in the third quarter. Gordon, both these teams look a little gassed.
Yeah, it seems like they probably put too much energy.
And now we're going to see an and one from Caitlin Weaver as she got another pickpocket and turnaround. And that'll put Lynn Benton up by 20. And really, we have just seen Mount Hood. Their defense hasn't been able to keep up. We saw a lot of early fouls from Day Miller, not to mention, as we already talked about, there was only 9 active players on the roster for the Saints, and not to mention seeing Perez get injured, holding her neck earlier. She is back on the floor now. We'll see how well she's able to do back on the floor for the Saints, but ultimately, Mount Hood just not a lot of resources to work with, and Lynn Benton have been doing a good job taking advantage. Weaver will swap out for Avonlea Wolf, number 23 for the Roadrunners. Weaver going to get a bit more of a rest, as now Perez throwing one up off the side of the backboard. Quick turnaround from Lynn Benton. Wolf lurking far side. That's a good bounce pass from Burschauer. Wolf out to Wilson. Pump fake now out to McBride. Burschauer, she's going to let another 3 fly. No good. Wilson battling for the rebound. It comes down to Perez. 1v1 versus Burschauer slows things down. Will reset. Greenfield, wide open 3. She takes the look. Another one missed by Mount Hood, and we already talked about it, Gordon. We need to see Mount Hood take higher percentage shots.
That's right, because that's what helps. That's what's going to bring the points back up on the board for them. It looks like we're at 46-25. Seems like Mount Hood is letting things slip a little bit.
And we're seeing more and more fouls. Saw that one there on Hartwich as Lydia Jacobson, number 24, going to step in for Bershauer. Bershauer continuing to lead the Roadrunners. She's having herself one heck of a night. 14 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. She's kind of been everywhere as Hartwich going to get some rest. We'll see Rowley swap in place of her, and that's a big piece to lose, but obviously players do need to get their time to sit out, get some water, but Hartwich, standing at 6'3", might be the only stop to Geckner as she will let it be to Lowitz, who spins and takes the 2. Mount Hood trying to bring as close as they can. Gabby Perez lets a 3 go. Will it bounce through? It will. Gabby Perez, her second bucket of the night. Both she's hit have been from range, and it looks like Mount Hood are going to keep putting them up from 3. Another foul call here, and that will be on Day Miller, so she will foul out here in the third quarter. She picked up 4 fouls in the first 15 minutes of this matchup, was sitting on the bench for a while, and now as soon as she gets back in, she finds her 5th. So we will not see Day Miller for the remainder of this game for Mount Hood, and that's going to put even more pressure on the Saints as now they only have 8 players to work with.
8 players to work with.
Pencer, wide open drive, will take advantage, got the block and took it all the way down court. Final 45 of the third quarter. Mount Hood trailing by 18. Lydia Jacobson into Lowitz. It's going to be poked away by Perez. Takes it away now, slowing things down. She's going to pull up for 2, and she's got it. Gabby Perez, another stop and shoot, and she adds on 2 more. She's tied with Alex Rowley to lead Mount Hood with 8 points apiece. .15 seconds left to go here in the third. Final possession will be with Lynn trying to break into 50. Wide open drive for McBride. Can't get it up. No foul called. 5 seconds for Mount Hood to try and add on one more. Pencer out to Perez. She might let the 3 go. That she does. Bank is there. No good. As the buzzer sounds, we'll come to the end of the third quarter. Lynn able to build their lead a little bit more.
Yes, and it looks like that Mount Hood, though, for the most part for this quarter, has actually done something to bring their score back up closer to where Lynn is, but, you know, they're still behind by a decent chunk.
Yeah, trailing by 16 is not easy. We'll see what Mount Hood can do in the fourth and final quarter, but score is 48-32 in favor of Lynn. We're going to take a quick break before the fourth and final quarter. Fourth and final quarter getting underway here at Lynn Community College. The Mount Hood Saints trailing 32-48 versus the home Lynn Roadrunners. Roadrunners up 16 and a confident 16 at that. Looking to try and end this one out. Geckner holds on to possession, is swarmed by Saints, and will be a jump ball that will go the way of Mount Hood. But ultimately, the Saints still needing to see them try and minimize turnovers. We're seeing all available players for the Saints looking a little bit gassed at this point. Obviously, not having a ton of players to work with and fighting against a tough opponent, it always is going to make it difficult. But Mount Hood, we'll see what they're able to add on here in the fourth quarter. Looking to get an early start. Perez, she's going to let a 3 fly. No good. Rebound will just fall out of bounds, and we're still seeing a lot of 3-point attempts here, Gordon.
Yes, 3-point attempts from seems like they're trying to get more points back here, but they're struggling.
Yeah, it kind of looks like they're going go big or go home at this point, Gordon. They're going for those low percentage shots, trying to get those extra points, but a nice put away here on the far side. Kylie Baumgartner, a quick turn and shot. That's her 3rd bucket of the night as Lynn seem to keep extending. We are seeing Gabby Perez letting a lot of 3s go recently, trying to get as much as she can. Rowley spinning in the paint, running out of room. Needs to be careful of that 3 in the key. Perez dives in, goes inside to Burke. Great pass in, the left-handed finish, no good. Rowley picks up the follow-up and will go up for 2. And there's that down low play that Mount Hood has still been looking pretty efficient at.
Yes, and it seems that they just have to keep trying there.
Inbound pass from Wilson to Weaver. That one immediately tapped away. She loses her dribble, running out of room, gets over to Geckner. She might just pull up, and that one's going to be ripped out of bounds by Savannah Burke. Great awareness from Burke to poke that one out, but we've seen the defense from Mount Hood still looks pretty solid all game. The one thing is their offense needs to really step up, need to keep up those rebounds on defense, gather as much possession as they can. It seemed to be what they always struggle to do against Lynn Benton. As Weaver drives in, another good stop from Burke, but the shooting foul will be called, and Weaver is going to head to the line for 2. Savannah Burke, another Saint in foul trouble. She's now sitting at 4 personals with still 8.5 minutes left. And if Burke leaves the floor on fouls, that's going to put even more pressure on the few remaining players for Mount Hood.
And if you're talking about few number of players available for Mount Hood, that's not a lot.
No, it is not, as Weaver puts 2 away. A late screen on Weaver from Burke. Now it's going to be Greenfield pulls up for 2, no good. Another rebound for Caitlin Weaver. That's her 11th of the night. She's still hunting down a double-double. Nice pass inside to Maya Wilson. She finds the bucket. Lynn Benton up by 20, and you're starting to see the effects of the exhaustion here on the Mount Hood defense. Just can't seem to keep up as much. You have a lot of players going for a lot of minutes, and there's not a lot you can do to try and shut down a team like Lynn Benton, who have a pretty solid amount of depth in their bench. Weaver puts up 2 more, no good. Rebound batted around, will fall to Burschauer. She goes to Baumgartner, wide open look from the elbow, and she's got it. And you can see these wide open mid-range jumpers, you can just not give those up. Perez back on it for Mount Hood, into Burke, looking for Pencer. No, she's just going to pull the trigger on a long 2. Will not fall on Mount Hood. Seeming to get desperate for these shots here, Gordon.
Yes, it looks like with only 7 minutes left on the clock here, Mount Hood's just very far behind. It's with the there's only so much that they could do. There's only that they just have to take advantage of every shot that they can. They have to just keep trying. Hopefully that they make shots and keep putting more points to the board.
We will see Burke swap out, Hartwich back on the floor. We're seeing Perez trying to do a lot of the heavy lifting herself, whether it be driving or looking for those 3-point opportunities. She's not afraid to take the ball in these kinds of positions. She has been a solid rock for Mount Hood all season long. We'll see if she can step up here. Weaver lets a 3 fly. She's got it. Caitlin Weaver drops another 3. That's her 2nd attempt of the night, and she's 1 for 2. And the 3-point game, again, been very kind to Lynn Benton. Contrary to Mount Hood, as this one being put up again, no good from Greenfield. Lynn Benton, 9 of 18 from 3. They're going 50% as of right now, Gordon, compared to the 22% from Mount Hood.
Yes, and that's 22% for Mount Hood. That's a very low number for the number of successful shots. It definitely reflects on the scoreboard here.
We saw a nice block from Baumgartner's. Gabby Perez slow to get up. She's still recovering on the far side. Reverse attempt from Weaver is good, and Caitlin Weaver is seeming to take advantage of the slow movement from the Saints. As again, we know these players from Mount Hood have to be tired. They're having to put up a lot of minutes with not a lot of backup. And Lynn Benton just seeming to extend more and more as they're up to a 30-point gap, and now another turnover. Weaver, who with that last lay-in is now sitting at a comfortable double-double. 3 from the corner, no good for Burschauer. And you can see, again, all players on Mount Hood just kind of walking, almost seem defeated early at this point, Gordon, as we're going to see no foul called here. and play will just resume. Mount Hood kind of letting one player go at a time, looking very fatigued as we're going to see a timeout from head coach Reinecker of Lynn Bennett. And at this point, Gordon, it almost already feels over. There's, of course, still 5 minutes left to play. Mount Hood are down by 30, and they don't seem to have a lot of fight left in them.
You're right. It just seems like they just kind of are exhausted, and there's a lot of things that's happening to them this evening. You have a player that's down. You have a lower number of players that are available, and difficult. Yeah, and they're just a lot of difficult shot attempts, and they're trying to keep it positive here and trying to keep the team momentum up, but 64-34 is just a hard number to swallow, to think about.
Yeah, Lynn Bennett really have just been taking advantage. I mean, Hannah Burschauer, the freshman, taking really full advantage. She's sitting at 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Caitlin Weaver, obviously, we have to talk about. She's sitting at a nice double-double, 14 points, 13 rebounds. Also sitting at 6 assists. She's 4 assists away from a triple-double, which would be the first of her career, but this being her 8th double-double on the season. Caitlin Weaver, one of the leaders on this team for a reason. Natalia McBride, she's sitting at 11 points, 2 rebounds and an assist. Kylie Baumgartner also with 10+. She's sitting at 11 with 5 rebounds. Those 4 kind of key players for Lynn Bennett really having themselves some great nights, in Mount Hood just can't seem to quite compete. Burschauer to Wilson. Far side, Addison Dunlap back on the floor, seeing a lot of the freshmen getting time. Natalia McBride, the only sophomore on the court. Dunlap going toe-to-toe with Hartwich and will be blocked out of bounds. We're seeing Lisa Hartwich continue to be a bright spot for this Mount Hood team, but again, with this kind of deficit, it's hard to bring it back.
Yes, for sure. For Mount Hood, with only 4.5 minutes left, they're going to have to really work hard and push their game to something that's of the next level, but
and Lisa Hartwich, she's been, again, one of the players to watch defensively, as she's got 7 defensive rebounds and 5 blocks for Mount Hood. I mean, standing at 6'3" does help quite a bit, but she's been able to do well defensively, trying to minimize opportunities. Offensively, I've only seen her put up 4. Alex Rowley still leading the charge for Mount Hood. She's the only player with 10 points for the Saints. She's 4 for 9 from the field. She's also got 8 rebounds. She's closing in on a late double-double here. We'll see if she's able to connect with it, but 4:35 left here in the 4th and final quarter, and it already seems like the Roadrunners are kind of in their victory lap.
yes, and looks like the Roadrunners are having a good night so far, just doing well. Things are going they wanted to go. Defense is looking good for them, and that was shot clock expired there.
Yeah, after the immediate timeout, it's a little bit awkward trying to resume with the shot clock, and it looks like kind of a mishap there for Avonlea Wolf, who had the possession. So 4.5 minutes left to go, and not to mention, we've talked a lot about Lynn Benton's defense, and I think to really show it, this is Mount Hood's currently their 3rd lowest scoring game of the season. They put up 32 against Yakima Valley and 32 against Lane, and Mount Hood's defense right up there with the reigning champions of Lane.
It looks like Mount Hood just has a lot of work to do with their defense. Just to, when the ball is not in their possession, their defense, they need to work on making sure that their defense is effective at blocking offense, putting pressure on the offense, and making sure that the opposing teams have a hard time putting points on the board. And that's where it matters when you're in defense and you don't have possession of the ball.
Rally inside to Pencer, spin move, tries to find the finish with the left hand, a little bit too much heat. Hartwich out to Greenfield, loses control. It'll fall back to Wilson, gets it out to Wolf. Now Burschauer has Dunlap in the paint, bounce passes there. Addison Dunlap finds the finish, and Addison Dunlap adding on a bucket for herself. Dunlap averages half a point. She doesn't get a ton of minutes. She only averages about 4 per game, but she's able to take advantage here. Is now inside. This one going to be ripped away. It's going to be a battle for it, as it looks like we saw Rowley kind of throw down Wilson there. And it looks like it will just be out, and possession will go back with the Roadrunners with less than 3 minutes to go.
And it's just not a lot of time for Mount Hood because they just have to get their defense. They have to really push hard at their defense, but with 3 minutes left, that's a tall order to try to gain that many points to catch up to Lynn Benton.
And Dunlap swarmed by Mount Hood players, keeping possession, preventing a jump ball, but only for a matter of time before it is taken back by the Saints. We'll see some late substitutions. Perez will hop back on the floor. She's suffered a couple injury scares already this afternoon, and she does seem to be back up and running as she'll take the ball at point for Mount Hood. But 2:32 on the clock, and ultimately, Gordon, it looks like Mount Hood are just playing for pride at this point. You're down by 32, less than 3 minutes to go. There's not much you can do to bring this game back, but at least trying to add on those extra points, showing your opponent that you're not afraid to take the losses. We'll see a foul in close. That's a great effort from Rowley down low.
And yeah, I think from our conversations with the coach, it seems like the coach is okay with making this be a learning opportunity for the team.
I would agree with you there. Head coach Leah McMahon really kind of focusing on this rebuild year, even if they don't have the best results, focusing on kind of creating the culture at Mount Hood. Obviously, this is her first season as a head coach, has a lot of freshmen under her wing. This is really a year to kind of build things moving forward, get that trust and compassion as a team, and really kind of turn things around next season. As Mount Hood at this point already out of the playoff picture again, 1-16 overall, but trying to end the season with some positives is always a great thing to do. Isabella Lois lets a 3 fly, not going to get it to drop. Rowley breaks through traffic in a 1v1. No, has Pencer to the left. It's ripped away for a moment by Wolf. Rowley goes up, will draw another shooting foul, and Rowley headed to the free throw line for the 4th time this afternoon. Less than 2 minutes to go. The Roadrunners, again, up 66-35. A very convincing performance from the Roadrunners here today. And, of course, we talked about in the early stages of this game, the Beaks trying to get momentum headed back into the end of the season to try and make that playoff push in the South region. Probably the hardest region here in the NWAC to try and get a playoff spot. But Lynn Ben, they're fighting for it, and we'll see if they can do it. The second free throw will be put away, as we'll see Maya Wilson swap out. That's going to be Kaylee Woolley, the freshman from Springfield, Oregon, getting her first minutes late here this afternoon. Lowitz playing off that screen down low, will find Garber. No, it's going to roll out of bounds for another turnover for Lynn Ben. They still have been leading that category, as we'll see Burke swap back in for the final minute 46.
And as for that free throw back there earlier, it seems that for Mount Hood, that's their best shot for putting points on the board. And even then, they still have to really focus on where they're putting that ball, because if they miss, that's also another opportunity for them to leave points out for Lynn Benton.
We're going to see another turnover from Mount Hood. That's their 25th turnover of the matchup, and that is a really tough statistic to see if you're a Saints fan, as they have struggled to really keep possession safe, and Mount Hood have been doing a great job creating that extra pressure, that extra defensive process to be able to force more and more of those turnovers. Garber out to Wolf. Goes inside. Quick turn from Dunlap, and she's got another bucket. Addison Dunlap, she's got 2. Perez puts up a floater and another nice turnaround for Mount Hood, keeping this at least within 30 as we break into the final minute of this 4th and final quarter. Perez guarding Woolley closely. Wolf trying to break past Pencer, finds herself a lane, goes up with the right, will draw a shooting foul. And that's a tough fall for Avonlea Wolf. Will hop back right back up. Wolf again, the 5'5" freshman guard from Toledo. She's been a nice presence here for the Roadrunners this season. Looking towards freshmen like her. Maya Wilson's been stepping up. Obviously, Hannah Burschauer, Isabella Lowitz, Kylie Baumgartner, Lydia Jacobson as well. All notable freshmen who are going to be looking to be leaders next season for the Roadrunners when you have players like Caitlin Weaver, Natalia McBride moving forward with their careers. We talked to them a little bit pregame. They are looking for 4-year options if they're able to find any through graduating from Mount Hood, but we'll have to see what happens there. It'll be interesting to see how far they can go. Both those players have a lot of potential. It could be a nice benefit to a 4-year school. Another jumper missed by Mount Hood as the Roadrunners officially now in the victory lap. Final 20 seconds. Just looking to end this one, maybe break into 70 points. Garber gets the pass inside. Nice lay-in. Brooklyn Garber on the board. The local player from right here in Albany, Oregon, will get Lynn-Ben to 71. And that looks like it will mark the end. Mount Hood looking for more. Pencer runs out of room, goes out to Burke now. Perez might have a look. She steps in, goes out to Hartwich, and that will be it. Final buzzer sounds here in the 4th quarter. The Roadrunners, a dominant performance. Again, we have not seen a dominant performance like this from the Roadrunners in a while. 71-38, a 33-point differential for the Roadrunners, and I think one of their best wins of the season. The Roadrunners able to take it a convincing 71-38 over the Saints. It was a dominant performance. Their defense working, their offense working. Everything seemed to be going right for the Roadrunners, and the Saints, they just had a tough performance. Not a lot of players to work with.
Right, and don't forget, you have one player that went out for an injury right there, so you're down by one player, and that makes it much more harder, especially if your player is one of your best players that you've got for the team that's already struggling.
Yeah, Alex Rowley really stepped up for the Saints, leading the scorer with 12 points, also picked up 10 rebounds. She has a nice double-double to add on to her career. Gabby Perez, she fought through a couple injuries. She had a couple moments where she had to step off to the sideline. She still provided to be a fighter and a warrior here for the Saints. Lacey Pencer had some good looks. We saw Lisa Hartwich. She stepped up in the rebounding category before Lynn-Ben. A lot of players to talk about. Hannah Burschauer, the freshman, leading the way in points. She had 17 with 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Definitely a career night for her. Caitlin Weaver, kind of always that star we talk about. 14 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists. She was hunting down a triple-double.
Yes, and that's going to really set her up for success the next time, Lynn Benton goes around, or these teams go around and play again in the future. It's really sets them up to be able to be successful.
Yeah, we saw a lot of good looks from Lynn-Ben. They will move up to 13-10 overall, 5-6 in the South. Mount Hood, they'll fall to 1-17, 0-11 through the South. Tough looks there, but still trying to improve any way they can. That being said, KBVR TV will be back at Lynn-Ben on the 22nd of February to cover the men's game versus Chemeketa. That'll start at 4 p.m. Pacific back here on KBVR TV. That should be a very strong matchup between the Lynn-Ben men's team and Chemeketa. The Storm always proving to be a threat in the basketball column. That should be a fun one to watch as well. And just a shout out again to Lynn-Ben Community College for letting us here at KBVR TV host this matchup. Shout out to Mark Majeski, the athletic director for the Roadrunners. And do want to give credits to all of our team here. Brynn Kirkland for producing, Drew West directing here today. Our technical director, Lilly Goodyear on cams. We got Jon Reece, Vans, Sioutas, Andy Sloan. Graphics, Amergin McDavid had it. On audio, Elijah Ziegler had it. And for engineers, Andy Sloan, Elijah Ziegler as well on the engineer. Alongside me, of course, Gordon Truong, helping out kind of all over the place. Our advisor, Steven Sandberg, and myself, Brad Whitman, in the booth with Gordon. It has been a very fun day of a game. And again, your final score, Lynn Benton was able to take it in a convincing 71-38 bout over Mount Hood. That is all we have for you guys here today. We'll be back on the 22nd. See you next time.